The PWI 500 is out. Of course, this runs through the period of August 1st, 2023 to July 31st, 2024. So just keep that in mind. But here's your top 10. And like I said, I don't know how much you can fight on this too much. Mystico was 10, Gunther at 9, John Moxley at 8, MJF at 7, Damian Priest 6, Tetsuya Naito at 5, Seth Rollins at 4, Will Ospreay 3, Swerve Strickland 2, Cody Rhodes number 1. I don't think you can argue on that too much, can you, Phil? I mean, you could, I suppose.
Right, you always can. It is respectable. I will say that. 8, 9 didn't wrestle that much, but it's respectable.
Oh, I'm sorry. Well, you know what? We'll have to talk to Kevin and get you on the list. I mean,
I will say about a year-ish ago, I did have a conversation with Kevin about, he's like, I don't understand some of the flack I've gotten for some of the lists. And I think we had a very open conversation. So I don't disagree with a lot of the choices and a lot of the reasoning. And, there's been reasoning over time that's been given by PWI. So, overall, these are the best athletes in the world, for crying out loud. Yeah. So the representation in the top 10, I think, is great.
Yeah. And of course, those are based on win-loss record, championships won, quality of competition, major feuds, prominence within a wrestler's promotion or promotions, and overall wrestling ability. Mm-hmm. And in that list, we talk about the top 10 or top 20, but I know how much it means to everybody to just make that list. I mean, that is something that can, if somebody say they're out on the independent circuit and they're trying to get noticed and they do enough to get on this, that's huge for them. It really is. And I see the pride that a lot of people take when they got on the list and they're, blasting it out and they're thrilled to death. I mean, it's a subjective list, but at the same time, this is a pretty important project for everybody in the industry, isn't it, Phil?
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. It's a quick way to get noticed by a mainstream audience because, magazines are still a little I don't know. There's not as many wrestling magazines as there used to be. But to have that opportunity in a mainstream publication gives more attention. And I think it gives more attention. You on the cover see Cody Rhodes, you open it up and you get to learn about different talent on the independent wrestling scene. You get to learn about a Bret the Threat. You get to learn about a Robert Martyr. You get to learn about a Jaden Newman. You get to learn about, who are these people that make up the majority of the 500 list? Let me dig a little bit more. Oh, wait a minute. This guy's from Baltimore, Maryland. Wait a minute. I'm from Baltimore, Maryland. I think it gives an opportunity for a larger eye on wrestling. At the end of the day, regardless of where the number placement is, I think it's just giving that bigger look at wrestling.
Yeah, and there's some fascinating names on there too when you start going down. And I know Danny Limelight, for example, and he got on there, and Danny's been trying to get back into things, and he's been all over the place and absolutely killing himself out there, and he's a terrific talent. But are there some people out there? I hate to ask the name question, Phil, but are there a couple that maybe made this list that you know of that say you should be watching out for this person? I mean, to give him the Phil Stamper.
This is when I get myself in trouble. You know this.
Yes.
I mean, you talk about a guy like Vinny Pacifico who just came back from a European tour, that promoters paid for him to fly from the United States to come wrestle for them, and he's about to go back to Romania in November. Vinny's a guy from New York City. He has I'm gonna forget the name of the company. He has a sponsorship deal with an energy drink company. So he's a guy that you can pay a lot of attention to. I mentioned Jaden Newman. Jaden's in England right now. He's been doing some great things. I'm glad to see Danny back, by the way. You mentioned Danny Limelight. I love seeing him back out there. So I think there are so many talents out there that people are like, oh, wait a minute, this guy. Jake Christ. I don't understand why he's not involved with another televised company other than the random spot opportunity. So I hope he gets a bigger opportunity. There are just so many people out there right now that I'm like, I'm like rooting for it. I see them. I'm like, yes, let's go. Let's get more.
So on the PWI list, if you were a betting man right now, who do you think's on the road to be a number one next year? Who's on that road? Because you got to see, the trick is you got to remember where the period is too, because it starts, at the end of August and runs through July, or beginning of August into July.
Mm-hmm.
So, we're tracking from just, like about a month ago here, but can you read the tea leaves? I mean, do you have any thoughts on who's a contender for number one right now?
Outside of keeping it near where it's at now. So if it isn't Cody, because he'll have that championship through Mania. So like, maybe, hopefully, we'll see. I'm gonna put it on Jon Moxley.
Wow.
I think he took some steps away for a moment. He was out of that limelight for a moment. He's building himself back up to be like, hey, you all need to pay attention, and I'm gonna run the house now. And so I think he could really change who he is. I think he could really change the face of AEW, and he could walk away as number one next year. That's going to be my pick. I'm going to call it right now. Jon Moxley.
Fair enough. I'll give you a name who might be number one is Gunther.
That's fair.
I think it's very fair. There's a pretty good shot that Gunther's going to be at the top because, I mean, who's going to beat him? Who's going to beat him over the next year?
Right.
I can't. There are people that could, but I don't see it. I think he's going to hold that world championship through WrestleMania. Mm-hmm. If he gets the match with John Cena, yeah, that's a tough one though. I don't know if you give John the win or not. I think they might, but even if they do, I don't think it'll last long. Gunther will probably get the belt back.
Yeah.
So you would imagine, from now until till August next year, pretty good shot. Gunther may lose one match, maybe one. So that one, but I like your pick of Moxley too, because Bryan Danielson's not going to hold that belt forever. So not bad. We could have a bet on that, Phil.
There you go. Little side.
Little side. There you go. I think that's a plan.
You know how to play the odds better than I do. So
yeah. Yeah. Oh boy, that's tough. We'll find out. Hi, pro wrestling fans. Mark Hoke here. I'd really appreciate it if you would take a moment to join the Mark Hoke Show family, and please click on the subscribe button below. Also, please stick around and check out the incredible sponsor of this video. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you again on the Mark Hoke Show YouTube channel.
Hey there, adventure seeker. Ready to unlock incredible hotel deals? Get a free membership and save up to 50%. Stay grand. Spend less. The simplest site, the best unpublished hotel deals. TheTravelShark.com.